Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm so glad you're here. Today we are going to be talking about a signing event gone wrong. And no, I am not talking about the A Million Lives Book Festival. We've already covered that one. No, in this one, we will be talking about Aces Wild, a convention and signing that took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey from June 13th to 15th. Now, this event was put on by a company called Cuffed in Chicago Inc. and three authors, D. Williams, Shashiri, I'm not positive if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think that it's right. Shashiri M. and M.K. Moore are the ones behind it. So last year they hosted events called Cuffed in Chicago and Lucky in Lombard, and both of these took place in and around Chicago. And this year, they hosted Lucky and Lombard again in April and then Aces Wild in June. So over on Eventbrite, where they do their ticket sales, it shows that the host company is called From the Ashes LLC, which confused me for a little bit. But it seems that after some digging, that the LLC is what D. Williams, Desiree is her name, publishes her books under, but everything else is promoted as being run by Cuffed in Chicago Inc. And honestly, the internet was very unhelpful when I was trying to find out more about this. So, for their signing events, they do a charity anthology featuring stories by the attending authors with proceeds going to a local charity. And for this one, it benefited the Atlantic City Women's Shelter, which I do think is pretty cool, given that everything goes correctly. So, I want to start by saying this whole thing felt a little off to me just in researching for this video. For example, all of the links on their website either send you to a Facebook group that no longer exists, the Eventbrite page that's pretty barren because the event has passed, an Amazon link for the anthology, or a link tree with several more broken links. They also appear to have deleted both their Instagram and TikTok accounts, and this is even stranger given that they have hosted other events in the past, and as far as I can tell, they have been generally met with positive reviews. Additionally, none of the hosts have had any mention of this event on their author Instagrams. I will put them up here, but it's pretty weird that the folks hosting the event are not promoting it on their own pages. So I first found out about this event when I came across the following on Threads by an author named L. Backenstow. Much like the other shady events we've seen, this one was disorganized with very little advertising done, a last-minute venue change, and canceled add-on events. So this is what Elle had to say. It's been over 48 hours since I requested a refund from the Aces Wild event, and it has been met with silence. The host has not responded to my email or any of my fellow disgruntled authors' posts on the private Facebook group. Only positive posts. I've contacted the venue to see if they are willing to shed light on what happened this weekend. As previously mentioned, there were several red flags waving before the event even started. An apparent change in ownership/management at the venue meant that our original location, no idea where this was, could not be honored. Sus. We were given a floor plan for the atrium, aka the lobby, that was less than ideal, but at least there would be foot traffic from the anime con upstairs. When we arrived on Saturday, we were again told that the venue changed our location. We were now shoved in the corner of the lobby where there was no foot traffic, and we were told to pick where we want to be. This meant that those who arrived early got prime locations. After a few minutes, the author next to me was asked to move even though we were told to go anywhere we wanted. I don't know where they ended up, but it seemed like the organizers decided to try and implement the floor plan anyway, even though the layout was completely different. Many authors ended up in dead-end aisles, barely 3 feet wide, me, and even more were shoved into the back corner space that few readers ventured to. Speaking of readers, authors were blamed for lack of ticket sales. We were told there were almost 200 sold, but I would be surprised if there were 50 that showed. Numerous authors backed out in the weeks leading up to the event as the VIP after party and goodbye breakfast were canceled. 9 out of 20 VIP ticket holders did not come. At any given time, there were more authors and PAs wandering the event than readers. The first author to leave that I saw was 2 hours before the official end of the event. A few others followed suit, while many stuck it out to try and scrape up a sale or two. Many of us are awaiting refunds for a lunch we paid for that was deemed too expensive. We were notified of this an hour into the event and told we were not allowed outside food. We were also told our lunch break would be extended, but the event did not close for lunch. I ended up buying 2 hot dogs, a bag of chips, and 2 sodas from the venue to the much more palatable sum of $35. I'm not sure if the hosting author lied or if she just didn't advocate for her fellow authors, but this event fell short in so many areas. Unfortunately, I wouldn't know the hosting author if she passed me on the streets. I'm not sure she ever introduced herself. Currently, I am out table fee, bingo participation, $40 for the raffle items donated, hotel stay, tolls, parking, a lunch we never got, and an overpriced hot dog. This was not my first book event. I have 13 more planned for this year alone. I've never requested a refund from an event. It would be one thing if this wasn't my audience or I was the only author who didn't sell much, but there were several authors, possibly the majority, who sold very little or even nothing. We were disrespected and lied to, plain and simple, and I won't be quiet about it. And Adam Gaffin says, this is a terrible experience. I've done lots of events and there are always glitches, but this is next level BS. Agreed. Author Tri Dexler says, I have been mulling over how I'm going to respond to all this. Reading through Facebook posts, which, as you said, were polite for how everything was handled, and then seeing a response that basically pointed the finger in the author's direction for not getting any sales infuriated me. There were multiple authors who didn't sell a single book. Authors who have done a lot of book events. Authors who, and it cuts off, but that's the gist of it. There was like one more line, and I didn't feel like, screenshotting a whole other post. Page After Page Books says, we tried to get a refund after the host canceled all the pre and after events. She declined, saying the money was going to charity and she was sending us a gift. Absolutely ridiculous. We came to help support the authors and bought a few books, but completely agree. We paid VIP and got refunded nothing. Author Jess Allen, which is bullshit. Charity or not, you should have had the option. Or at least credit us back the VIP cost since we got nothing. Exactly, a partial refund should have been offered and I'm sorry it wasn't. So hold that thought. This is another example of events not going on as they were supposed to, with no accountability or refunds from the hosts. So, in fact, they actually posted the following on the event page on Facebook, which is basically the only page that seems to be active for this event or any of their events. On June 5th, D. Williams wrote, Hey all, we're about a week out, and I've got some sad news. After careful consideration and with the new policies in effect at the convention center, we have decided to cancel the after party. We're more comfortable donating the cost of the party to our charity than having only a handful of attendees. The area not being set yet and low RSVP numbers for the night were both major factors. If you are a VIP ticket holder, please contact me. You will receive a special thank you gift mailed after the event. And you can see on this flyer that different events were canceled. The VIP party, the goodbye beachside breakfast, these things were planned and then canceled. And that's just not how this should be working at all. If you cancel an event that people paid for, you can't just decide that that money is going to be donated to charity. You have to give them the option to get their money back. And depending on how much it costs, I'm sure a lot of people would say, yeah, sure, just go ahead and donate it. But to be told instead of asked is wild. I'm also a little confused on her wording in the post. The area not being set and low RSVP numbers. Did they not have a venue plan for this? This was posted a week before the event. All right, back to the thread. Oh, but she was sending us a gift. I was like, take that gift and stick it. My friend and I did purchase from some authors, but we know it was a bad event for everyone. I've contacted the venue as well, and I'm going to try calling today. If enough of us message them, maybe they'll reply. I'm just having trouble accepting that the event booked and paid for a hall, but we got moved to the atrium last second. Yeah, me too. Exactly, I would guess the venue allowed them to transfer their deposit to the atrium when they couldn't afford the hall, but then where's the money trail? I'll keep you fully posted. I went to the top of the food chain and emailed both the CEO and executive director of sales. She didn't have details, but she messaged the sales manager who handled our event, Amanda Robb, and she confirmed Amanda will get back to me. Author Lee Jack says, I'd be very interested if you hear back from the venue. It just seemed like one red flag after another. I'm sad we're all out so much money and it was so low attended. I think I spoke to maybe 5 readers all day long. You're right, it was red flag after red flag. I should have known when I didn't even realize there was an author group until about a month before the event. I didn't order an anthology, but apparently they all arrived damaged as well. I'm interested if you get an answer from the venue. I was an attending author and just about flipped my lid on the day of when they mentioned no outside food for lunch. What do you mean the pregnant woman can't get the lunch she's been lusting after for 3 weeks? Also, would have been raising hell with words like breach of contract if a location pulled that shit last minute. Not a lawyer and never saw the contract. Now, on the same graphic, like I already said, it says that the Goodbye Beachside Breakfast is also canceled due to low attendance because of Father's Day. Which is not a surprise. Did they not know that that was Father's Day when planning the event? So to recap, the meet and greet on Friday night is at Dave & Buster's and is not an actual event, but more of an informal gathering where you pay your own bill. On Saturday, we have the signing during the day with a prepaid lunch that was canceled. And might I remind you, if you wanted to eat, you had to buy expensive hotel food and take it from someone who is on the road constantly and stays in hotels all the time. It is not cheap. And in the evening, we had the canceled VIP event, followed the next morning by a canceled goodbye breakfast. Now, even if the breakfast was not a prepaid event, which I did find out it was not, there's a big possibility that people who plan to attend both the VIP party and the breakfast might have stayed another night in the hotel that they didn't end up needing to because they could just drive home after the signing. So just like A Million Lives, this is heart-wrenching for attending authors, full stop, but especially those who might not have a ton of extra cash for events and those who aren't local to the area and had to spend money traveling. Now, I don't know if this was just always going to be a much smaller event than that was, but I've not heard many people at all talking about this when it honestly seems like it was just as bad. I couldn't find many videos, but I did find one that someone took of the event while it was going on. But I'm going to slow it down because it literally made me dizzy watching and because of dramatic effect.
Electricity, I feel fire, feeling of emotion. I feel fire between you and me. I feel pressure, feeling of emotion. I feel pressure. All of my time, leave me behind, coming over me. So don't be wasting electricity. I feel fire, feeling of emotion. I feel fire between you and me. I feel pressure.
So it's pretty easy to see in there that there are far more authors and vendors and PAs than attendees. It seriously makes me so sad because some of these displays, they're just so beautiful and they had to have taken a lot of time to set up, a lot of money to design, and for what? These authors don't deserve this. Another thread that gives a lot of information is this one by B. Isabel Writes. This may be long, and I hate that we're having to go through this again with yet another poorly managed and disorganized book event. I haven't addressed it yet due to everything that's been happening. Gestures wildly. Understood. And I prioritized addressing other situations first. However, as there seems to be a new book event popping up every day, and far too many that appear to be capitalizing on the drama more than wanting to support authors and readers, we're going to talk about this weekend and others. For what it's worth, and I know this situation is not about me, but I am certainly not trying to capitalize on this in any way. I am simply trying to make these videos to have more informed people and to help people not get wrapped up in this kind of thing later. It's not, sure, I like having people watch my videos, but this really is not why I do it. It's not self-serving at its core. I want to help. Anyways, again, I know it's not about me. This weekend, I was an attending author at Aces Wild in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It was put on by Cuffed in Chicago, who also organized Lucky in Lombard. I was invited to apply for this event last year, and it was recommended by attendees of last year's Lucky in Lombard event. Remember, last year. We sign up and pay our fees for these events months and even years ahead of time. Last year was a great year of events for me, so I signed up. This year's Lombard event happened in April of this year, and I started hearing some not-so-great feedback, even from those who attended and recommended it last year. Still, I had signed up for so many events that I couldn't focus on Aces Wild yet. I had been advertising it on my page, my blog, and my newsletter, but I couldn't fully focus on what was and wasn't happening. There's a post in the Facebook group that the Sunday VIP brunch is canceled because of believed low attendance due to it being Father's Day. Did we not know it was Father's Day when we scheduled it? Yeah, right? Anyway, I said, cool, it's brunch, whatever. Keeps me from having to postpone my 8-hour drive home. Then we get the room seating arrangement, and I'm looking like, damn, that's a little tight in a convention center. It looked uncomfortable, but I've been in tight places before. The week before the event, another cancellation is mentioned. They're canceling the VIP ball due to projected low attendance with no promise of refunds for those who have paid. The response to those who asked about refunds was that they would send some comparable gifts sent to them after the event. I won't sit here and say there weren't red flags, but I had been advertising the event. I had been promising to be there. I'm from New Jersey and had posted on my personal Facebook page that I'd be there. So I went because I didn't want to be one more disappointment about the event, and maybe I'd recoup some of the money. I was also sharing a room with an author friend and wouldn't just leave her with the whole bill. Anyway, without even going into how damn near completely inaccessible the convention center is, we show up the morning of the event and are told to sit wherever we want. Just pick a table. What the hell? About 6 of the supposed 20 VIP ticket holders showed up for their early hour. About 2 hours into the event, we get a message in the author group, not even to us directly, that they can't bring in outside food, so lunch would be provided, and we'd get a refund. They weren't closing down for lunch. Maybe 50 people walked through the hallway we were crammed into. Maybe 30 of them peeked down the little side aisles some of us were tucked into. The event was shit, but it's not been the first, second, or even third that has done wrong by authors and taken advantage of us while simultaneously blaming us. The first was never mentioned, didn't even make waves, because most readers who came were happy, all 80 of them for 130 plus authors. There were some controversy surrounding another of their venues, but again, we had already registered, paid, and advertised our attendance, so we went. If it's in my power and the location seems safe for my fellow authors and readers, I'm going to show up and meet my obligation. But I'm tired of being taken advantage of and seeing so many other authors, especially newbies, so excited for their first event being devastated by these events. So here's my list of events that did not meet their own promises. I'm also going to share the parent company because these coordinators / companies also continue to put on other events. I will not be attending any more of their events, and I've already paid for some for next year that I'll lose my table fee for. 1. January 2025. I attended Frosted Flames in Gatlinburg. It is run by Unalive Promotions. They have many events, but I won't recommend them. 2. May 2025. A Million Lives. I think we've already established no one is doing that one again, including the coordinator. But watch out for Grace and her fake Archer Management Company. 3. May 2025. Lust in Virginia Beach. It's run by Breeze Customs and Events. I have many friends who attended their Michigan event with promises delivered. We did not have that outcome in Virginia. Not only were there many issues with the event, including lack of tickets, the rudeness and attitude of the coordinator and team was a huge turnoff. I am pulling out and forfeiting my table fee for next year's event. Watch out though, because she is expanding to multiple events at different touristy areas. 4. June 2025, Aces Wild, run by Cuffed in Chicago. I just said all I had to say about the event above. 5. November 2025, Booked in Chaos, organized by Chaos and Book Talk. Though we had a wonderful event last year, I cannot trust that the event will be a safe space for all. I will not be attending or supporting again. I'm working on a video about that, so stay tuned. Whenever I see posts saying our calling out events is just a money grab, it makes me angry. We pay at least $150 to $350 for a table at these events with the understanding that the coordinator would fulfill their promises. Trust that when we really complain, it is an event that not only does us wrong, but also fails our readers. This weekend was just that. This post is to also warn other authors of failed events that are still planning for next year and or expanding. I'm not saying don't take a chance. I'm saying everyone deserves to be informed when they make decisions. Do with that what you will. And I wholeheartedly agree with her there. I personally haven't seen any, and I hope I never do, see people claiming authors calling out events is a money grab or anything like that. I can barely even see how this line of thinking would come to be. But like, I mean, if I was out a few $100, not including food, hotels, travel, because an event organizer failed to deliver what was promised, hell yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Not because I expect anything back, but because others need to know to make educated choices on how they spend their money. Now, about that anthology I mentioned earlier, you know, that one for charity, well, it seems that almost no one ever got it. Author Jess Allen says, did anyone get a paperback of the Aces Wild anthology? Author Victoria J says, Nancy dropped one off at my table. Not sure how Nancy got it, but I got one. And author Melinda Valentine said, I had to send my husband up to ask about my copies. He was told the order arrived damaged and they would have to be mailed. I was disappointed because I wanted to get them signed by all the authors. About an hour before it ended, he walked by the table and they gave him 2 from the VIP bags that didn't show up. So professional. I mean, I'm glad she got her books, but some of us didn't even know there was an anthology until one person came around to get signatures and asked if we were in it. That's all I saw was one person. Didn't even see the cover. So I'm guessing not many got a copy. This just gets better and better. Now, granted, I can't be sure how orders were taken for the anthology, if attendees pre-ordered them and then just didn't receive them, if authors were supposed to get copies or what. But this is a really bad look for them, particularly because these are supposed to be raising funds for charity. So I'm very interested to see what, if anything, comes out about these books, because it definitely seems that, much like the rest of this event, it was not well advertised. So we saw a little bit of it mentioned above, but now it appears that the organizers are placing the blame on the authors for low attendance. And let me just remind you that not a single post was made on any of the 3 hosts' Instagram pages about this. Over on Threads, author Victoria J made some posts. This one says, I cannot fathom the calamity of errors, poor or lack of planning, that was Ace's Wild author reader event. The few, 69 readers, that paid for parking and tickets who attended deserved way better. The authors who paid table fees deserved better. And it is a little video, but I just have a screenshot. POV, an author showing up to a book event with a table assignment only to find out there are no table assignments, and it's first come, first served for tables in the back corner of a hallway. And some of the comments on that, Cash Author says, oh good, I'd heard something went wrong, but that is crazy. Like the bare minimum is table assignments. I'm so sorry. And Victoria says, oh, it is so much more than a table assignment fiasco. And another user says, yet another event that's a clusterfrack. No wonder authors are getting gun-shy about signing up, all because authors turned organizers who think they can pull it off don't recognize that it's a lot of work to pull together. And I definitely think there's something to this. Very small sample size, but this is the same thing that happened with A Million Lives. This is the same thing that happened with Readers Take Denver. Authors who see how much success hosting big signings can bring and decide to go all in with little to no experience organizing events. There's a reason event planner is a whole-ass profession. It is not easy. I personally got stressed and overwhelmed planning my sister's baby shower, so how someone could think that they could pull off a whole convention like this without having, the preparation and the experience is beyond me. More from Victoria. How do you pre-order food, pay for it, and then cancel it mid-event? How do you blame the union when the place has been unionized since 2008? This wasn't new information. Where did you order the food from that was like, nah, cool, cancel it, the day of the event, 7 minutes before delivery? I have so many questions and only vague non-answers. And here we have a screenshot of this message we heard about earlier that was sent, to the group, not even personally. Unfortunately, I come bearing bad news. The convention center, now that they are unionized, has decided that we cannot bring in outside food. Prior to the union and per our contract, this was acceptable. However, now we cannot. They honored nothing from our original contract. The price they wanted us to pay for their lunches is astronomical. As such, we will begin refunding you your lunch fees as soon as we get our money back from the venue. I'm so sorry to have had this happen to you. And she has text on the screen that says, setup started at 7 a.m. Doors opened at 9 a.m. 11:53 a.m. You sent a message on Facebook to tell authors who had paid ahead for lunch that lunch was canceled. So, a few things I think that are worth mentioning. I had myself a little look around the Atlantic City Convention Center website, and the FAQs are very clear. First of all, while this does not specify individual unions, it seems pretty obvious that this venue tends to use unionized employees. Additionally, anyone who has ever been in a union can tell you that they don't just decide they're unionized. It is a long process, and if it was a new union, it would absolutely be in the news, which I did quite a lot of searching for and could not find a trace of it. Straight from their website, it says, Labor Services, the Atlantic City Convention Center has collective bargaining agreements with many labor organizations. All show managers are required to adhere to the rules and regulations of these agreements. Contact your event manager to help coordinate all labor information and exhibitor rights clauses. And yes, I am aware that that is probably referring more to like the AV technicians and that kind of thing, but there's more. It is clearly stated on their website several times that all catering in the center is exclusively done by OVG Hospitality. And this is not information that's hidden or hard to find in any way, and it is stated multiple times. For one, it says under catering services in the FAQs. Full service catering is available exclusively through OVG Hospitality. There's another heading, exclusive services. The following services are exclusive to the Atlantic City Convention Center, which means no other provider can be brought into the venue to provide those same services. First one on the list, catering and concessions. We've also got food and beverage sampling. The practice of exhibitors bringing in their own food or beverage is in direct conflict with the OVG Hospitality exclusive contract at the Atlantic City Convention Center. Now, obviously, I've not seen the contract between the venue and the event coordinators, but I feel confident in saying that this was probably in there somewhere. I highly doubt that this was actually sprung on them at the last minute. And if, as they stated above, they have not honored anything from the original contract, that sounds like a time to get lawyers involved. But, So after the event, as usually happens with these things, the organizers were full of reasons why other people were to blame. So the next screenshots I have to show you are from the attending authors Facebook group. So the first one is one of the organizers kind of saying her piece, and of the three in charge, one ended up not attending for health reasons, and another was just kind of like checked out, MIA, I don't know. And the one who was there was Desiree, and after the event, this is what she posted. Hello all, I'm popping in to say thank you to all the people who saw how hard I tried to make this event successful. As many of you saw, I was a one-woman show on Saturday, although I did have two partners. I guess. I'm just as, if not more, disappointed in how things went, and I'm here to clear some things up. But first, I want you all to know that I have resigned from the Cuffed in Chicago team. I joined to help new authors who couldn't get into the bigger events. My goal was to invite anyone, regardless of where they were in their author path, and give everyone an equal shot. The bigger events seemed to be more of a popularity contest, and I never felt that was right. With the shitstorm of events that have under-delivered or plain lied, I can appreciate keeping your guards up. But one thing I am not is a liar, so please see some receipts below. I have never promised thousands of readers. I was very honest with the numbers, and they do not lie. I said 200 to 250 readers because we sold 121 tickets on Eventbrite and gave away 81 free general admission tickets from authors. That's 202. Plus, we sold 9 tickets at the door for a grand total of 211. Now, here's where I have no control over things. Only 69 checked in. I can only guess why. Maybe the political upset and fear of riots breaking out at a protest on the boardwalk. It could have been sickness. Also, it may have been the author they wanted to see drop out. My job was to sell the ticket, and I did. We were a new event in a city that hadn't had one, and that's always a risk. Many have accused me of not promoting. Please take a look at the list below for all the places we had ads. Thousands of people saw them, and I cannot control who is interested in coming or who bought tickets. Many of the authors went above and beyond to help promote, and I want to thank 2 in particular who gave up their free time to do so. Asher Alshir, author, and T. Tourist, author. Not their job, though. Lastly, I want to address the after-party cancellation. It seems everyone is under the impression that they paid for it. You did not. The table fees charged covered the table and chair rentals, linens, electricity, and security for the event. Now, you were told yourself, and one partner got in free. The money for that event came from ticket sales. When we pulled the author group, only 19 RSVP'd as coming, so we made the decision to cancel and donate that money to charity. If that was the wrong thing to do, then I apologize. After the way the convention center changed things, I didn't think giving them more money was beneficial. You all saw the original diagrams that they provided us, which was not what we got. I'm not sure why they did it. All I know is I tried my best to make it work. A lot of you feel the event should have been canceled, and hindsight is 50-50. I think she means 2020. I cannot go back in time to do that now. I never dreamed they'd squeeze us into a corner. As far as refunds for the lunches, as I said above, I am no longer a part of the organization, so please file any grievances with the CFO, author Shashiri Chakira Mixon or MK Moore. I wish you all the best, Desiree. So not only is she passing the buck, she's also bouncing out on the company as a whole. I'm sure it was terribly stressful with so much going on at the event dealing with it by herself, but so much of what went wrong were things that should have been dealt with prior. As you can see, she posted the screenshot that shows where she advertised and budget stuff. So then Shashiri posts next steps in response to Desiree's departure from the company. Hey all right, so here is what is happening. As you have just read, our company structure has changed overnight, which saddens me, but there's nothing I can do about that. Due to that unexpected change, our system has also changed, and as such, it will take me a minute to get my bearings, retrieve the spreadsheet, get it organized so that everyone that paid gets the correct amount of money back, see where everything stands, and unfortunately, pace myself so I don't trigger a seizure from the stress like I have told several of you. So my plan is to begin refunds next week. I do want to take a minute to say how very sorry I am that things did not go as we had planned for you all. I want you to know we intended for a kick-ass event and maxed out our advertisement budget intending for that to happen. I wish I had been there to help Des and support her, but due to a recurrence of my health, I couldn't fly, and not being able to hold some of that burden with running the event weighs on me. Those of you who have reached out individually have been very kind and understanding, and I appreciate that. I will work as fast as I can. Once again, I apologize for your inconvenience and disappointment. Next, our friend from above, Victoria, points out something that I actually didn't even realize at first. So she writes, so I saw in author Shakira Mixon's posts where she explained refunds for the undelivered lunches would come eventually. I see the comment maxed out our advertising budget. Though the receipts Desiree provided showed $73 was put towards ineffective marketing advertisement. Was that the budget? Please tell me you spent more than $73. Additionally, as someone who hosts events, albeit smaller events, I spend more than $73 on advertising and get more people at my smaller events of 9 to 14 authors. I also want to question the use of newspaper to advertise. That is a dying medium. What in the world possessed you to go that route instead of Facebook ads? My husband is a journalist who worked for a newspaper. He left recently because there's no money there and people aren't going to newspapers anymore. It's not 1950. We are in 2025. How do you not advertise on social media? Lastly, as all of you are based out of state, how many times did your organization actually visit the convention center, sit down, and speak with them face to face? Did you ever set foot in New Jersey between signing the contract and the day of the event? Why did no one, since there are 3 of you organizing this event, though only one of you is talking, one of you bailed, and the other might as well have, since I haven't seen one post, look at the low ticket sales and go, hey, maybe we should change our marketing strategy? You had more authors than readers. I'm sorry, going into the event thinking 202 people would actually show up when 81, nearly half, got free tickets is absurd. And that's a bonkers advertising budget for the kind of event they wanted to throw. $73? And then they put ads in the newspaper? This is so, out of touch. And I'm just wondering where their heads were even at when they came up with this strategy. And including the 81 free tickets in the anticipated headcount feels bold. Obviously, okay, you have to think about, what if every single person shows up, but it's pretty much guaranteed that they won't. And another author brought up that in a much earlier post hyping up the canceled VIP party, there would be a DJ, casino games, and a selfie station. El Clara brings up a great point about where the heck that money went, since it was all canceled at the last minute. Say it was all non-refundable, then why cancel it? Just have it, and yeah, it'll be small, but I'm sure some people would have had a good time, and you could bypass what a bad look it is to cancel it at the last minute. So she tags Shashiri. Also, I'd like to ask where the money for the DJ and selfie station went since the party was canceled last minute. And she has a series of screenshots. Unfortunately, this is all I have of that, but one that is highlighted promoting, it says, we will have a cash bar and snacks for purchase, a DJ, casino games, and a selfie station for pictures. A few other authors were incredibly disappointed that their sponsorships got them basically nothing. These were the badges or the name tags that had sponsor names on them, and, well, just look at it. So it says the name of the attendee that they handwrote, and then you can barely even see what these things say because it's like the same color as the background. Jess Allen, I'm tired. I just want my money back. I paid and did not get what I paid for. A couple other people chime in with agreed. Catriona Drexler, the sponsorship I paid for said my name would be included on the lanyards, but my name isn't on there. Melanie Nowak says, I never saw that anywhere, and the pink is very hard to read. Casey Greco, I paid to be a sponsor. T-Tourist author, who's apparently one of those ones that did such a great job promoting it, squinting. Another one that was very much that another author that was shouted out for being like good promoter says, I legit never saw that. I have mine hanging up at home too. Sheesh. Amanda Brick says, if you look at that, think it's okay. You need to take a giant step back from doing events. Just own the fact that the signing was horrible because y'all fucked up, refund people their money, and be done with it. At this point, you're making lifelong enemies, and I don't know about everyone else, but the more you talk, the less I want to keep quiet. Michelle Ryan says, these are not sponsored name tags. This is, I bought 100 off Amazon and printed them off on my computer. If that was always your intent, then that should have been relayed. But if I'd sponsored these, I'd be pissed off. Can you just admit your team dropped the ball on this event and then just refund us what we're asking for? El Clara Author says, you can't expect us to be okay with this, though. It's barely able to be read. You even said in the live that you had a hard time reading it. More on that in a second. And Chashiri says, from the photo I did, I was hoping a little closer up it would be. And she said, I'm sure there are plenty of the pieces of paper left that Desiree has left you can see in person. In person, it's just as bad, if not worse. And next, Chasiri announces that once she gets things under control, she will be doing a live to answer questions and such. Hey, lovelies. I swear I'm not ignoring your questions and requests for answers. I'm gathering information, going through emails, taking screenshots, writing down information, any and everything you can think of to share with you. I'm going to do this live in a video in the group so you can see my face and the sincerity in my answers. This will be on Friday, more than likely early afternoon since I don't work and the kiddos should be gone so you won't have to deal with the chaos of my 4 monsters, LOL. If you can please be patient and a little understanding, I will try to give you as many answers as I can. You all deserve to have your questions answered. Thank you so much. So while I don't have the actual video of the live, I do have some screenshots of the comments which make it pretty clear that it was just excuse after excuse. So obviously that this was during a live, so these comments are being responded to and they are being prompted by things that she's saying, but you can pretty much get the context. The poll for the after party was only on Facebook. Some authors didn't even know there was a poll until after it closed. No emails were sent for the after party voting. As you might remember, I said it earlier that they decided to cancel this because the poll had poor response. People weren't going to show up. Some authors said they never signed a bingo card, let alone sold anything. I didn't hear much about the bingo cards, but just another thing they paid for and didn't get. I was an author. She wouldn't let me leave the table with the marker. The shirts were never discussed with anyone. I will touch on that in just a second as well. What was the change in management? The person checking people in was quite upset that the Sharpies were taken. I had no Sharpie. They have been unionized since 2008. No, we were nowhere near the anime convention. Your organization's message to us was that they suddenly unionized. The lanyard was a strip of ribbon and a piece of paper they cut the morning of the event. Not for nothing. The prep of the event looked like it was all done the night before and cheap. Regular printer paper. Even the only sign for the event was printed and glued to a board. I brought a PA to every event since 2017, 4 to 5 per year, only paid for lunches for PA, never a ticket to be there. An author replied to that and said this, it's feeling a lot more like A Million Lives with every word spoken. And I don't know I can't remember if I said it anywhere in here, but to bring a PA, you had to buy them a ticket, which is, I think it was maybe slightly discounted, but that's crazy. Let's see what else we got here. There was an anime convention, but it was nowhere near us. Where was that 16K you collected go? Because that event did not cost 16K. A Million Lives. I only saw 2 canvas and I think the readers brought them. I think that was for signing. Nope, A Million Lives event in Baltimore. You had 69 readers. It was not crazy. It was a book convention that had as many problems as yours did. They're talking about A Million Lives. So you didn't ask. You just assumed and blamed the convention center for your lack of due diligence. You did not research the venue. Let's see. I like how local authors who aren't the event organizers are supposed to be responsible for driving to the convention center to see if the atrium lights are on. Get the hell out of here. And she says, that's not what I meant. I was trying to make a joke. Apparently it failed, but I was just shocked that you guys are like, the lights are always on, and she's told me that they're always off. My apologies if you thought I was serious. Unfortunately, like, without more context, that doesn't really make sense, but it seems like she's asking a lot of these authors that are local just because they're local. I want my lunch fee and sponsorship. And yet pizza and Applebee's and Starbucks and everything came in through the doors. We had to pay for our own food a second time, though, so it would have saved people money. I paid $25 for a handwritten lanyard. I want my money back. My tier said name and logo on marketing materials, and again, I did not get asked for a logo. I will gladly take a picture of my handwritten name tag. A lot of others stood there writing their names. Don't you have another partner as well? Haven't heard her name. And a response, she hasn't even been active on social since May. I doubt we'll find any feedback from them. I think it takes a lot of nerve to point a finger at Desi. She 1000% did her part. And that's obviously Desiree, the author that quit. What about our sponsorship? You said sponsorship things, but not once was asked for a logo, and I don't know what materials my name went on. What area of the convention center were you told was unionized in 2025? I don't think there's ever an answer. When did anyone in your organization step foot in Atlantic City? But if the contract stated you get 402, 403, the contract is signed. They can't just add in extra caveats at the last minute. That's a breach of contract. What I don't understand is why they moved us to the atrium in the first place. If you had a contract in place since 2023, what reason did they give to ignore it? But y'all made it sound like you just found out they were unionized and that's why things changed. I think the majority of us have been understanding that you have to keep in mind that all of the information you are sharing makes it look like nothing that we were informed of was factual. Also, it seems that Shashiri's really not aware of what A Million Lives is because she seems to keep needing, like, someone to tell her what it is when they're like, my daughter even heard about it and she's not a reader at all. It made national news. Where's the original contract? Because none of the documentation from yesterday shows 2023. From what you shared yesterday, it looks as though you just started the process on the 28th. I didn't say anything about breakfast. I asked about the PA fees. Why were we charged $50 for a PA? For a chair? They didn't get the snack that was given to the authors, and yet you had us pay for them. At this point, we need refunds for the PA, bingo, sponsorship, and lunch. Because there was supposed to be a banner. There was no banner. There was no signage apart from a piece of paper pointing to the ticket sales. And one last thing that was about the t-shirt / tote bag thing. Shashiri posts this picture that shows, like, both a t-shirt and a tote bag. But I think the tote bag is just like a mock-up. And people are like, okay, but I didn't pay to be on a t-shirt that you then charged people to have. I was supposed to be featured on the swag bag, a memorabilia calendar. It's extremely unprofessional to just change this and not get approval from the people who gave that money for specific things. If someone had asked me about being on a t-shirt, my answer would have been a hard no. And quite honestly, I've been to many, many events where you don't sponsor to have your name on t-shirts. My money is made up by how many are sold. Yes, t-shirts were being sold, correct? LMAO, I paid $100 for sponsorships and my name didn't even make the cut for the t-shirt. This is literally the first time I'm seeing it, and just FYI, I never received a bag. And Victoria says, the only bag I got was a snack bag. It's so disheartening to see this happen yet again. And while neither of the messy book signings I've covered recently have seemed maliciously planned to scam people, at the end of the day, authors and readers spend their own hard-earned money to travel to and pay for these events, and to have it be run so poorly is not something that should be normalized. But what should be normalized is admitting when we make mistakes, taking ownership, and taking the steps to make things right. And I think that what these people need to all learn and take away from this is it's okay. Don't double down when you realize you're in the wrong, and stop making excuses. Just apologize and try to do the next right thing. And that is where I leave you today. If you attended this event and want to share anything about it, please feel free to in the comments or send me an email or a DM. I always want to be a supportive listening ear for whoever needs it when I'm discussing some situations that involve people getting hurt, particularly. I mean, if you're having a bad day, feel free to let me know anyways, and I will do my best to cheer you up. But I really am trying to make these videos to help make the book community be a safer place with more informed consumers. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content just like this, make sure you're subscribed. I do have a Patreon if you are interested in that. It is linked down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Hey, so I was just finishing editing that video when I got some more intel about this situation and some stuff about refunds. So I figured, well, before I post it, may as well give a little update. So 9 hours ago as of today, which is June 23rd, someone posted in the attending authors, vendors, models, whatever group, has anyone heard anything or received refunds yet? El Clara author says, I honestly don't anticipate any more response. She seems to be pulling a Grace from AML. We got another one that tagged Shashiri. I also sent 2 PayPal requests for my refunds. Thank you. And Christina Garlic says, we have to watch with PayPal. Sometimes no activity/response means PayPal considers the issue resolved and closes the case. You have to keep on PayPal. More people. Victoria says, I received my $30 lunch via PayPal, but it wasn't a refund. It wasn't from Cuffed in Chicago. It was odd, but I did get that. I didn't have as much of a loss as others. I didn't sponsor anything. But then someone else was like, it was from Shashiri's direct account. So it sounds like she's just like trying to, get people off her back. So she's just putting the money out there instead of going like through the whole account. And it's like, why? What's going on? Why is that a thing? Someone else said, I opened up a case with PayPal. They just called me, so fingers crossed. I received the refund on my lunch. Still waiting on my PA's lunch and sponsorship, but Shashiri let me know she's doing these from her personal fund until she has access to the refunds. Well, I guess it would have been nice if I read it all very closely before I started filming, but yeah, I guess that's what's happening. And another user said, I received my refund for my assistant lunch through PayPal. Desiree is fighting over my refund of $10 for the bogus bingo card scam. I also am requesting a $100 refund for a portion of my table fee and my lunch, waiting for a response from Cuffed in Chicago. So it honestly seems like maybe they're trying to make it right, but it's taking longer than it should, and I don't know. I don't feel that these people set out to make this event with malicious intent, as I said before. However, that doesn't negate the fact that they still have people's money, that they did not deliver what was agreed upon. So, yeah, they still need to sort this out, and I hope that they learn something, and I hope that they figure it out for the future. That is, if there will be any future events. So, now we're actually done, and please like this video, subscribe if you want, join my Patreon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.